Hello, everybody. Alexander Gill here. Hope you're keeping well, being kind to yourself, and learning a lot in this time. So, this week I'm going to chat with you about adversity. Excuse the outfit, but yeah, I'm just going to be talking very transparently with you, getting quite vulnerable. So, hope you bear with me and you can learn a lot from this. So, adversity. We are humans. We're these beings. We sometimes don't know what we are, but you grow through life from learning lessons. So maturity is what you perceive as a big deal. So when we were 18 years old, if there was people on nights out, there's what we perceive as a very big deal is no longer a big deal. But what we now perceive as a big deal will not longer be perceived as a big deal when we grow older. If you know what I mean. So in terms of that, there's a lot that you need to break down in adversity, but I actually see adversity as a gift. It is a bridge, not a wall. And everyone needs to go through it, and it's identifying the peaks and the valleys because if you're on a peak, you know it's a peak, everything's great, you're like, whoa, this is amazing, the colors, the smell, everything's awesome. And to maintain that peak for as long as you can, you actually need to be gracious with it. You need to have a gratitude attitude, you need to be sharing with a lot of people. When you're in a valley, you need to be kind to yourself. So I did another one on self-compassion. Check that out again. Just be nice to yourself because you know that you will get to that next peak, and the best part of it is when you look back at the other peak, it's actually bigger, it's better. So keep going, be kind to yourself. But the whole point is to know that adversity comes to you in waves. It's life. We're all going to have hardships, but it's the attitude which really gets you through. Life pushes us around, but you must learn to move on. If you learn that lesson, then you'll grow wise, you're wealthy and happy. If you don't, then you'll blame people, and that is not a great thing to have. So there's a thing called living above the line or below the line. And below the line is where you blame people, it's non-accountable, it's living irrational. And it's a lot of emotion fuels, and emotions are an interesting thing. Feel free. I don't know if I've actually done a video on emotions. I might do one on emotions. But yeah, in taking all of that into consideration, to have tactics to yourself where you don't have to react to everything. You are living above the line because at the end of the day, this thing between your ears, it's a tool and you can use it as you wish. And so adversity will come in these flows. And huge adversity I had was I was hit off a scooter at 60 kilometers an hour. So the guy T-boned me from the middle lane. I was driving down a busy road. He really hurt my back. I couldn't sit down at work. I'm not saying all of this for sympathy, but I'm just giving you part of my tests that are my testimony. The guy, he said at the site was apologetic, was ringing him to fix the scooter. The story goes on. Long story short, he decided to change the story, told people that I drunk drive, all of these things, and it just got very messy. However, my mind was very much blaming him for everything that was going wrong in my life. That my body actually started to react. So our body holds a lot of trauma. I see an acupuncturist. I see a lot of things to release things in the body. And this blame culture it was a downward spiral. I didn't understand what was going on. I didn't really have emotional intelligence back then. Definitely something you should check out because in 2020 it's one of the top 10 skills to actually have, and another 6 out of the top 10 are actually in there. So that my mindset was very much that blame rather than ownership. Warrant that the event, so an event is something you don't have control of. We're always going to have events in lives, but it's your response which gets the outcome, which is what you want. So when I was blaming after the event, my response was, oh God, he's not doing. It was a test. It was something that I'm going to learn, and then how I perceive a big deal going forward. So really having the mindset of a valiant, or if you're a dude, a Viking. With everybody that you take in life, that you have to have these tests, and they are your battle scars and your wounds, but they are your stories, they are who you are. So knowing that you're a valiant, not a victim, sorry, the victim mentality is very much blame, and that's not cool. It's not going to get you anywhere. Actually, it's like gossip. people that gossip, you should tell them that it makes you feel uneasy because they're probably gossiping about you. And gossiping is actually just releasing the frontal lobe like this. You don't get anything out of it. That's why you can almost see some people aren't actually home when they're gossiping, but they don't actually understand or aware, and it's often a cover up for their own emotions. So, knowing that your past is just a memory, you can let go of it. The past is over and it's done. It cannot be changed, but how willing are you to let go? So I'm going to ask you a few questions here, and feel free to write some of these down and then answer them in your own time. Obviously, with my adversity, I held on to it for a little while, and I've got many other stories from hernia operations to car crashes to growing up, many of them. But I don't feel sorry for myself. I don't blame anyone. I take accountability. I work really hard on living above the line. And so taking all of this into consideration, like how willing are you to let go of that? I've contemplated and reflected that regrets are often an opportunity to re-greet. So re-greet that. Notice your reactions when that actually comes up of how willing you are to let go. And what will you have to do to let these things go? Is there anything that you can do? And how willing are you to let these things go? So with this guy, I was in a downward spiral for quite a while with him. But at the end of the day, I've just shed light on it. I've just let go because what can I do? I can't control another human. However, you just carry on living by your values and ethics, and you'll get there in the end. And to be honest, karma works and everything like that, that you will be fine. And what's your resistance level? So what is your resistance level to actually changing, to shed light? I did another talk on self-talk, and you can go through the different levels and see how you can rewire it, because it's all about seeing it and editing it. When you take ownership of your attitude, you take ownership of your life. So in that attitude comes from your belief system, and we've done a growth-minded fixed mindset, so check that out if you're not aware of it. Attitude is key. It's how you perceive all of this. Suffering is a choice. That's your attitude. It's a blame attitude. It's the lens of how you perceive everything that's going on. So if you see it as an event, and a tragedy doesn't have to define you, but more lessons or love, like there's many things that go on in the world, and what we perceive as a big deal in our maturity, it's often just processing our emotions. A real adversity is where someone was killed in your family whilst trying to get food to serve and give to the family. There's many things out there, from favelas and slums to refugees, asylum seekers, people out on and doing some real big things. And this isn't about that, but it's more about what can you do with your adversity. I've learned to shed love on it, to shed light on it, and that's how you get through. And it's actually making me feel a more wholesome human. So with some of those questions, talk to yourself and ask those, and even verbalize them out loud, because sometimes that's the best way to actually get through it. So yeah, I hope this has helped somebody out there, and I'm happy to share any more information. Keep going, keep rocking. Your adversity is at the end of the day your story. So yeah, hope you have a good one.